So I want to thank everyone who participated in last night's live stream. And I want to apologize to everyone who I didn't get to their questions, especially to Thomas Ruiz, I believe. My son and my wife said I kept skipping him. I apologize, Thomas. If you want to just put a question in the comments or email me at bluecollar@gmail. If I don't know the answer, I will forward that email to Devin and I'll get back to you with a response. I apologize. But as you know, that was my first live YouTube, and as G.K. Chesterton famously said, if something is worth doing, it's worth doing bad. So I went into that with that spirit, with figuring it wasn't going to go really smooth, and a lot of things I didn't plan on, like I could hear me talk. It was a 20-second delay, so I could hear me talk, then I could hear Devin talk. I had to figure that out. And then I had to respond to Devin in the corner, who you couldn't see, not the Devin in the center that everybody seen. So it was a lot of things I got to work out. Devin agreed to come back. We're gonna probably do it in a month because you know, he's a white collar Catholic who just lost his job, and I think he'll be starting a new job, so he wants to wait till he gets. And I think he's moving for the job, so he needs time to settle in. He said in about a month he would love to do it again. We really had great participation. Next time, I'm not going to drink as much espresso. I'm going to sit in a chair and I'm going to read every question as they come in, because I was kind of like going back and forth, missing a lot. And then there was a lot of trolls, and they were saying like ridiculous things, and they were kind of throwing me off. So my son showed me how I could actually put them in timeout so we can just get to the serious questions. And I'll answer serious questions from skeptics, from Protestants, but not, you know, just some of the stuff is just ridiculous. So we'll put those people in timeout. So I think next time it'll go much smoother. But and then I was hoping we could save all the questions, but for some reason not all of them were saved. But I got a few I can answer. Coconut Power asked me where the Book of Mary in the Muslims' Quran came from. I don't know where it came from, but what I do know, I'm no expert on Islam, and I'm going to refer you to an expert in a moment. But what I do know is Mary's the only woman mentioned in the Quran, and she's mentioned many, many, many more times than Muhammad. And Jesus is also mentioned more times than Muhammad. So very interesting. The expert I'm going to refer to you is a guy named Mario Joseph. I think he was like a priest, an Islamic priest overseas, and he tried to figure out why Jesus and Mary were mentioned so much. Long story short, he converted to Catholicism. His father found out, tried to kill him. Miraculously, he escaped and got into a cab with a Christian cab driver, which is like 1 out of a million in the country he was from. And so he has a great video about his testimony, and I think he became a Catholic deacon and made more YouTube videos. So check out Maria Joseph's. The video I seen is called Changing Tracks, Mario Joseph. And he's the expert because he came from Islam. So I know a lot about Protestantism because I spent a lot of my life in Protestantism. He knows a lot about Islam because he spent most of his life in Islam. So I'm not going to tell you what I think Islam is. I think you're better off going from someone who's actually in it. So Mario Joseph for that. Then Cup of Truth, I noticed you said you were trying to get a hold of me and it was really hard. I apologize. I thought I seen an email from you and I tried to go back to answer it and I couldn't find it. So if you want to email me again, bluecollarcatholic@gmail.com, I'll respond. And again, I apologize. It was bugging me all night for some reason. I kept thinking about you, so maybe something you need to tell me. So I'm really interested in hear it. And then somebody asked me to talk about Flavius Josephus. Josephus was a historian that was alive during the time of Jesus. He was Jewish. He wasn't a believer in Jesus being the Messiah, but his writings, Flavius Josephus's writings, are considered authentic by any serious historian today. And it just proves that Jesus existed. And it proves a lot of the New Testament is true, because you're getting an outside source, a non-believer, verifying that what the New Testament said was happening. So it's, it's a historian from the time of Jesus. Very, very worth looking into, Flavius Josephus. Then what other ones were there? Okay, someone asked me what I thought about the letter from Archbishop Vigano, I think is how you pronounce his name, to President Trump. I just want to qualify this, because this is getting into politics, and every time I see something that, I try to keep this a Catholic channel to help Catholics grow in their faith, to defend their faith, to build unity amongst Catholics and amongst non-Catholic Christians who are willing to be in unity with us. And I find politics to be divisive, and it really shouldn't be. I've been a political junkie, so to speak, since I was a teenager. And the way I've always looked at politics is like this. Look at the policies people want to put forth and see if the policies are effective for what they say they're for. That's it. Don't try and figure out the person's heart, why he wants to do it. Just figure his intentions are good. And I'll just give you an example. So say one political party sees someone hungry and says, we need to spend money and buy this guy a fish. The other political party may say, wow, that guy's hungry. Instead of taking that money for a fish, let's invest part of it in a fishing pole, then invest another part of it that we would use for the fish to teach this guy how to fish, get him training. And then you know what? The rest of the money that we would spend on that fish, let's invest in some local ponds to get these fish stocked, these ponds stocked with fish. So this guy has an opportunity to catch fish for the rest of his life. So the one party that wants to give him the fish will look at the other one and say, you guys are so selfish. You're going to let this guy starve? He needs a fish. And they'll look at their heart and they'll call them evil. These people are evil. They just want hungry people to starve. And then the party that wants to train the person how to fish for the rest of his life will say, no, you're the evil one. You want to control this person. You want this guy dependent on you. You want to keep this guy down and dependent. You're the evil one. As Catholic Christians, I think we should look at it this way. Both of their intentions are good. They both want to help this guy. They just have disagreements on how. So in America, we have a democracy. Right now, one party controls one house, the other party controls the other. So they need to come to a compromise. They need to talk about it. Say, okay, we agree we want this person to eat. How about we give them half a fish, and the part that the money we would spend on the other half of the fish, we use to buy them a fishing pole. And you come together and you help someone. Now this person has food for the day, and he'll have food for the rest of his life, and he won't be dependent on anybody because he'll know how to fish. So that's just one small example. So the problem is you have so many people today that were never involved in politics, but because of social media, they get one side of each issue and like, wow, those people are evil. Those Republicans are evil. Or the Republicans will be like, wow, those Democrats are so evil. And what I'm trying to say as a Catholic Christian is both sides could have good intentions. Now, maybe their policy is dumb in your eyes, but we shouldn't say it's evil, okay? Because I don't think that anyone that wants to serve is doing it out of evil intentions. They may have selfish intentions, but we can't look at the heart. Only God sees the heart. That's not our job to judge the heart. We're to judge the policy and vote according to the policy. So, some things are absolute. As Christians, we believe in absolute immorality. Like, you can't say it's okay to murder. We can't give an inch on murder. Murder always has to be a crime. How do we prevent murder? That could be another discussion. But once someone commits murder, it's got to be a crime. And unless you're a complete science denier, we know that abortion is murder. So then you have another argument. Well, how do we prevent it? Should we try to prevent abortion, or should we just criminalize abortion? So that's where that debate is. So with that being said, I don't want to get too much more into politics because I don't want this channel to be divisive. I want us all to work together to strengthen the church. But but I'm just going to give you my opinion. I'm not going to read the letter. If you're interested in the letter from Archbishop Vigano to President Trump, they have it up on Life site. It's a pro-life, I believe it's a Catholic site, and they have the whole letter written. You can read the whole thing yourself. But I read the letter and said, amen. I agree with Archbishop. So I don't agree with everything that he said, and he said some things about the Pope that I disagree with. But the letter he wrote to Trump, I have to agree with. So there's my take on that. I hope I don't lose any subscribers over it. Just my opinion. And again, my intention is for the church to grow and to be united, and for our country to be united. So take it for what it's worth. And like I said, Devin Rose said he's going to come back in a month or so. So get your questions ready. I'm going to sit in a cool swivel chair like he was and just read the questions. And hopefully we can get to all of them next time. I mean, it went so fast. That hour went so quick. And that was another thing. I was looking at the time because, to me it was a big deal to get him. I thought he was an awesome guest. I'm sure he gets offers all the time to go places, and he agreed to be our guest. So as a good host, I told him an hour. I wanted to keep it to an hour. So I was watching the time, and once I seen it was like 58 minutes, that's when I decided to end it. But I know there was a lot more questions up there. So like I said, he should be back in a month. Get your questions ready. We'll do this again. And until then, stay Catholic.